All right, let's move on to question number 66. And the correct answer is B. Go back to the stakeholder and work out with them the why of the feature and see that if you can satisfy the requirements in any other way. Let's look at again what's really happening here. You are a facilitator for a flow-based agile project, and one of your stakeholder has come up with a highly unrealistic requirement. The product feature will need a lot of background work and literature review. It is a totally new feature which has not been tested before in any other platforms. Your team is also of the opinion that this feature is quite unrealistic and should not be necessary for smooth functioning of the product. What is your best course of action as a servant leader? Now, here's the thing. When a stakeholder comes out with a requirement, the first thing that we need to know is, okay, why do you need it? How does it solve your purpose, right? And then we try to figure out, hey, is there something which already exists which can be modified or something? So basically you have always got to have that approach. I'm talking from a real world perspective, and the questions are no different. So let's look at the other options. A, work out what needs to be true to get this feature enabled, right? So customer is the king. You see, customer is the king, but when you run an agile project and when you are also a solution provider, you need to know that you have to consult. Customer is a king does not mean that you'll have unrealistic, those kind of features just thrown in, right? So that doesn't work. So this is a useless statement. If you look at C, say no to the stakeholder for this feature. It is best to be transparent from the beginning as a servant leader. Again, this is the other extreme. This is the extreme of agreeing to whatever the customer says, and this is the other extreme, right? This is also not done. We need to understand why that particular feature is needed. All right. If you look at D, explain the stakeholder why this feature is not necessary and try to dissuade him from him since your team thinks that way. Again, this is good, but we need to understand why he needs it. How does it affect the application? How does it affect the solution? How does it fit into the vision? So among all these, the best option is B. All right, let's move on to question number 67. And the correct answer is work performance data. Remember, direct and managed project work is a process that produces your deliverables, and this is also the place where you have the birth of your data. This is the only process that produces work performance data. And remember, all this data will become input to 10 other processes of all from monitoring and controlling, and they will then convert this data into information. Now that's beside the story. The reason I'm giving you so much of information is so that your mind should actually look at the entire journey of work performance data to information to report. And that's one of the best ways to remember things without mugging up and answering questions like these really fast. All right, well done. In case you're looking for a course, an examination readiness course, which is going to get you ready in just under 16 hours to ace PMP exam. Does a course like that exist? Yes, it does. Well, all you have to do is type pmvideo.pm-pulse.com. That's my site for PM videos, and over here you have a few PMP 2021 related videos. The very first one is PMP Dash. PMP Dash for acing PMP 2021. When you come to this particular landing page, you have a video which will give you an introduction to entire PMP Dash. It also contains certain things which are there in PMP Dash. There'll be samples of what's contained inside. You can make an informed decision. The best thing is, it gets you ready in just 16 hours. It contains every aspect of what's going to be covered in the PMP exam. Not only that, it has also 180 questions, full examination set guided by me. In case you're looking for a course which will get you ready for PMP exam in a very short period of time, and not only that, it'll help you ace it. Well, this is the course. All right, let's move on to question number 68. All right, the correct answer is D. See, senior person or no senior person, relation of a big guy, small guy, doesn't matter. As a professional, you have to follow the processes of the organization. And if in your organization, and I'm pretty sure it's there in most of the companies, verbally abusing somebody may even be liable to termination. So your job is to make a report to the HR department and senior management stating facts exactly as they occurred. And then they will take the decision. Your job is to inform and bring it to the notice of the right people. All these other options are not correct, right? So, for example, play down the incident. Now, you're going to play down the incident just because somebody, very abusive a person, is related to somebody else. Well, even in the real world, the moment you do this, you're actually promoting a lot of problems, right? So, this should never be done. Right now, when you talk about B, make a report, but state that both parties were equally responsible for the incident. Again, you're playing down. This is again another way of playing down, that you're trying to equalize both of them, and that's equally bad. And then we talk about C, call the concerned team member and warn him not to indulge in some behavior. Well, you need to understand is that this person has committed something which is against the rule book of your organization, and he is supposed to face disciplinary action. So you must actually make sure that you actually do the right thing, and you follow the process of the company. And the best answer therefore is D, make a report to the HR department and the senior management stating the facts exactly as they occurred. All right, let's move on to question number 69. And the correct answer is D. Team building is essential during the front end of a project, but it is an ongoing process. Yes, we need to put the maximum emphasis in the beginning of the project to make sure that the teams, when they come together, they don't suffer from the laws of diminishing return. They actually climb the ladder of the Tuckman's ladder and become performing as soon as possible. But it does not mean that once you build your team, you are done. You have to make sure that they keep performing throughout the life cycle of the project. In between, some team members will come in, some new guys will come in, some others would leave, and that will always push your teams. I mean, the synergy of the team slightly lower in the ladder, and when I say lower in the ladder, what I mean is lower in the Tuckman's ladder, right? So it'll make it lower, and then you have to make sure that you have to build it back to performing again. And that's the reason why this is the best answer. If you look at the other options, they're not as good. For example, A, team building is essential during the middle of the project, and from there, it is an ongoing process. Not true. B, team building is essential during the end of the project. Well, it's already too late, so no point reading the rest of the statement. C, team building is essential during the end of the project. Again, there's no point reading the rest of the statement because these two are actually incorrect. This is partially incorrect, But still, the fact is, it is incorrect. And therefore, the best answer is D. All right, let's move on to question number 70. And the correct answer is use Kanban boards to see the flow of work and progress limits and use impediment removal boards. So, for example, what is this question basically trying to say? A flow based agile is experiencing delays in version releases. Mostly, the reasons for the delays are unforeseen and unexpected. They don't really know why this is happening. They never come up and get addressed in daily stand ups. For some reason, they're not being talked about in daily stand ups. How can this issue be addressed as a servant leader? So the best thing is use the Kanban boards, see the flow of work and the progress limits, and use impediment removal boards. Right? You need to understand when you write things like impediment removal board, that's nothing different from an issue log, except this issue log is in Agile called impediment removal board, and you have to prioritize all the impediments or the blockers which is stopping the work from happening. And you have to prioritize them. You have to even find the solution. You have to put a date by which you want to take care of it. And you might even have to put owners, just like issue log, right? So remember, there are so many things that happen in Agile which are absolutely same as traditional projects, but they have a slightly different name. All right. So, not difficult at all. So, now let's look at B, C, and D. Hold your team accountable. Well, that's like blaming, right? Blame storming. That's not always a very good thing. See, use crashing and fast tracking to make up for the delays. You can do that. There's no doubt about it. But how do you prevent if you're not seeing anything, if these kind of things are cropping up, and you're not trying to address the problem itself, then how do you know that they're not going to crop up again? So this is like something that you do as a reaction, but you're not solving the future occurrences of similar problems. So it's good, kind of, but not perfect compared to A. Now let's look at D. Organize a training for your team to understand how to plan agile projects effectively. I think it's not a problem with planning. It's a problem with unforeseen or unidentified risk cropping up or unexpected issues cropping up, and also the failure of reporting during stand-up meetings. So it's a little beyond planning. So the best answer is this.